Hello everyone out there, welcome back to the Phantoms Fanac YouTube channel. I am back with another review, and this review is of Talk to Me, released this year in 2023, starring Sophie Wilde, Zoe Terakes, Miranda Otto, Joe Bird, Chris Alonso, and Otis Donji. Please forgive me for my pronunciations. And it was directed by Danny Filiopi and Michael Filiopi. And the plot of Talk to Me is that when a group of young teenagers at certain social parties start using a undead hand to conjure spirits, almost as if they're using it as drugs and for fun good time, it all is fun and games until a very bad version of this happens, resulting in one of them getting hurt. And there might be more of a dark side to these fun, innocent uses of the hand for fun possession times. So I think this is the feature film debut for Danny Filiopi and Michael Filiopi, who are also known as the YouTube channel Raka Raka, and it is insanely impressive, especially for first-time directors, to helm such a great thing. I do understand that Raka Raka, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, is for the most part a lot of short films, like something like Corridor, where they do narrative short films, so it does make sense that they have such a good keen eye experience for the directing in this. One of the things that I really did enjoy about Talk to Me is its very unique take on a possession movie, because you don't see a lot of them where it's fun to be possessed, you know? They really do set it up as, like, a fun way to be possessed at the same time. And especially how they use it as a metaphor for addiction and stuff like that. Clearly, it's supposed to be, like, a metaphor for certain types of drug use, especially with younger teenagers, especially because the younger kids, they want to use it, and the older kids don't want them to use the hand and get possessed like they are, because they don't want them to experience that. That is an insanely clever use of such a creative idea, especially for a possession movie. That's one of the things that I really give a lot of praise to Talk to Me, is that it has such a unique take on a possession movie, at least for the setup. I will say, not everything is particularly unique about this, especially where the plot leads to. I kind of guessed what was going on with it, but I feel like you kind of see where it's going, and it's not a huge surprise of what exactly happens in this, especially because there is another meaning to this film other than just addiction. It also deals with grief and people not dealing with grief in the correct way, especially because the main character, Mia, played by Sophie Wilde, is suffering a tragic loss of her mother, and she's also, like, distant with her father, and she uses this hand as almost a way to just escape and not feel like she wants to be in this moment anymore, that it takes over her, and it allows her to, you know, get rid of these feelings that she doesn't want to feel. But since she doesn't tackle the grief in the wrong way, that does lead into what happens later on in the film. And relatively, I feel like the plot is pretty well done. The main problem that I have with the plot, especially the characters, who relatively, the acting all around by these young kids are very good, and I especially like what they do with the people who have the hand. You think they would just be like the dickhead guys who don't help, but no, they're genuinely not like the dickhead popular dudes who wouldn't be any help once this started, or they're reluctant to help. They genuinely are concerned about what's happening, and they are friendly to the other people, and I find that insanely creative, and especially the relationship the main character has with her close friends, especially because the other friend has a little brother, and she's almost a sister for him at the same time, and that relates back into what happens later into the film. I really did enjoy the plot for the most part, but I will say it is a bit frustrating when the characters don't necessarily make the smartest of decisions, or there's something that they could have avoided a lot easier, but I would chalk that up to them being teenagers and the bystander effect for the most part. I feel like it does have to relate to that, and especially if I was in that situation, I guess I wouldn't react as fast as I think I would, but I still think that that does get annoying, especially with some of the decisions the main character makes, but I feel like you're not supposed to agree with the decisions she's making, or you're understanding why she's making these decisions that you wouldn't necessarily agree with. One of the other things that is done insanely well in Talk to Me is the directing. The shot cinematography, the unique combination of practical and visual effects are very well done. Especially, I love whenever somebody gets possessed by the hand, or the sound design around the hand when it like starts moving. You can like hear the acrylic like scraping noises that are very well done. And the vocal effects they use on the possessed people are also insanely creepy, and all the actors, I think, do a good job once they are possessed. Now, I do have to question, they have the right hand, or is it the left hand? I forget. It's one of the hands. I wonder if somebody out there has that other hand acrylic, like they do with that hand, and it's shaped like this. And I question, somebody has definitely thought about fucking that hand. I'm sorry. Somebody has definitely thought about fucking that hand. I wouldn't be surprised if anybody had fucked that hand. But, you know, maybe that'll get answered in the prequel or the sequels. Because, yeah, this film did insanely well at the box office, and A24 has already have plans for a sequel and a prequel, which I will definitely check those ones out when they do come out. And as I said, the direction is insanely well done, especially when people get possessed. I love the effect that they use. You kind of see it in the trailer where like the camera almost like turns at a unique tilt, or there's a very creative transition where a character is laying in bed, but then it cuts to morning, and it's the same position, but then she just walks forward like she's now at the right angle to walk. And that is a very good, well done scene, especially the first like 5 minutes of this are all in one take, which is insanely impressive. And there's a surprising amount of gruesome gore in this that had me squirming a little bit. It takes a lot for that to happen for me. I've watched most of the Saw movies and all sorts of fucked up shit, and yet this movie managed to get under my skin a little bit in some areas. Now, I will say, for a horror movie, the cinematography is very dark, which is good. I like the cinematography in this film, especially when you get to a scene later on, which leads to the best scare of this movie. But that does get into one of my other minor issues, is I didn't really get scared by anything. Like, I can't think of anything. Like, I was tense in of good moments, but I feel like it didn't have necessarily the best of payoffs, especially with how well the setup was. That is one problem that I do knock to the film, is that it does have good setups and lead up, but it doesn't necessarily have the best payoff when it comes to the scare moments, which that is a problem that I have with the film. And then obviously I said my other problem is that the main character making certain decisions, it does get a bit frustrating later on, but I feel like they do a good enough job. But there are some moments where I am like, okay, I see where this is going, and I kind of don't like the character's decision. But then when they set up her not dealing with the grief correctly how she was supposed to, I feel like they relatively sell it pretty well. But yeah, overall, I did enjoy Talk to Me. It has some very good direction, very good acting, and a very creative new take on a possession story, especially being used as a form of addiction almost at some moments. All the acting is well done. The characters' relationships are subtle enough and are really well acted that you can get a lot from a lot of little scenes in this. And yeah, I will definitely check out the sequel and the prequel to Talk to Me. I feel like Danny Filiopi and Michael Filiopi really did do a great job, especially for YouTubers doing their first feature film. I find it insanely impressive what they have done with this, and I highly recommend Talk to Me. It is a very good horror movie. It will score 4 ceramic hands that give you a really good high trip, or might make you go insane and kill people, out of 5. Yeah, I did talk good amount of praise, but I didn't love this film. I really did enjoy it and liked it, but I did not love it. For a film to get over a 4, it has to really make me enjoy it. Like with Oppenheimer, I gave it a 4 out of 5, mainly because I did enjoy everything, but then there was a little bit of shortcomings in the end of it. But overall, I really did love that film. This, everything is done right in this film, and I did enjoy my watching of it, but I didn't leave it insanely loving it. I was like, okay, yeah, that was really good. So because of those reasons, and because of the problems with the main character's decision, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. But that will be it for this review. Please make sure to like, subscribe down below, share the channel. I really want to see it grow, and I will start posting more regularly, hopefully. Leave your opinions on the movie down below or the review itself. And yeah, that will be it for this one. I will hopefully have a review out of Saw X, and then I will start reviewing some more classic horror movies. I did mean to try to cover Friday the 13th Part 2 on Friday the 13th, but I obviously did not cover that. But hopefully I will get it covered eventually. But yeah, so look forward to the Saw X review, and I will see you all next time.